Hello, we are going to take a look at our third method for solving a system of equations. This is the elimination method. So whenever we are solving a system of equations by elimination, what we're looking for is a pair of opposite terms. So for instance, I want to try and get a pair of opposite terms here, 4x and negative 4x. If I combine these together, they go to 0 and they cancel out. So I want to try and either get a pair of opposite terms here to cancel out my x's, or a pair of opposite terms here to cancel out my y's. This will let me solve and come up with numbers for both of them. Now, you can start with either x or y, and it doesn't matter. As long as you do your work correctly, you should end up with the same result either way. I'm going to choose to cancel out my x's, and so what I'm going to do is, since there's no number I can really multiply 2 by, at least as whole numbers is concerned, to get 3, and no number I can multiply 3 by to get 2, I'm going to go ahead and multiply them by each other. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by 2, the bottom equation by 3. That will give me 6 and 6. But since I want opposite terms, I'm going to have to make one of them negative. So that means I'm going to take the bottom number and multiply the top equation by negative 2. And then I'm going to multiply the bottom equation just by the positive 3. Sometimes you won't have to put this negative there. If you had negative 3 on top and positive 2 on bottom, then you wouldn't have to multiply by the negative. But our result down here on the next step, we need one negative and one positive. So when I multiply by negative 2 in the first equation, that means I multiply all three of these terms by negative 2. So 3x times by negative 2 will be negative 6x. Then I have minus 10y. And then negative 29 times by 2 is negative 58. So this is my new first equation right here. The second equation I'm going to multiply by 3, and so I'm going to get 6x plus 18y, and then 30 times by 3 will give me 90. So now, you see here we've got a pair of opposite terms. We've got negative 6x and positive 6x, which means we can go ahead and actually eliminate. I'm just going to add straight down. Negative 6x plus 6x, those cancel out and go away. That's what we want. Negative 10y plus 18y, that'll give me 8y. And then lastly, negative 58 plus 90. This should give me 32. So now I have 8y equals 32, and I can just solve this for y by dividing by 8 on both sides. And this will give me y equals 4. So this is my first number that I have, and I still need to solve for x. So what we actually have to do is we're going to have to take this and we're going to have to plug it into one of our two equations. So make sure you have this written down, because I'm going to move this board out of the way so I can keep working on this problem on the next slide. So we have y equals 4, and then I'm going to choose to plug it into the first equation, 3x plus 5y equals 29. So I'm going to replace the y with 4 here. So I'll have 3x plus 5 times by 4 equals 29. So 5 times 4 gives me 20. And I want to solve for my x, so I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. When I subtract 20, I end up with 3x equals 9, and then I just divide by 3. and I get x equals 3. So my final answer, remember, needs to have both the x and the y, and the x has to come first. So I'm going to have 3, 4 as my answer. Just like that.